Okay, today we're gonna drive this Gen 2 R1S up that 14,000 foot peak with this professional race car driver.
Let's go.
All right, welcome to the Rivian Dad channel. We are excited today because we're on our way down to Colorado Springs. We're gonna meet up with Gardner Nichols. He is the record holder for a production truck category up the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb. Now, I'm a little bit nervous because you don't know this about me, but I do get car sick really easily. And we're going to be driving up the Pikes Peak Hill Climb course. Probably gonna be doing it at a slower speed and not in the actual race truck today. But anyway, it should be exciting. We'll get a chance to talk to Gardner and see what it's like and see what this new R1S Gen 2 is all about as well. So let's do it. All right, here we are inside the R1S. Is this a dual motor, tri-motor?
This is a dual motor performance max pack Gen 2 R1S.
Sweet. All right, so we'll talk about that a little bit, but I'm here with Gardner Nichols, and in the back we have Brian and Stacy who are here to help out as well. Thank you to everyone for being here. I'm super excited, but I have a little secret to tell you, Gardner, which is I get car sick really easily.
That's okay.
So I think we're okay going speed limit, but we'll see.
I'm planning on keeping the speed limit. I have plenty of outlets for speed, so especially up here. So I'm
good. Okay.
I'm happy going the speed limit. I was born and raised in Colorado. Always a Colorado boy, and I grew up. It was probably in middle school when I discovered the race, and I've always been passionate about cars and racing. So when I found out that this international mecca for motorsports was in my backyard, or in Colorado, you know, it's one of the few spots in Colorado where there was any sort of motorsports. So 2009, my dad and I spectated the race for the first time together.
Okay.
And then the following 3 years, 2010, 11, and 12, I worked for Paul Dallenbach, who's sort of legendary driver up here.
Okay.
I was just sort of an apprentice. You know, I was like 15, 16 years old when I started working with him. And I was just learning so much about racing, motorsports, Pikes Peak itself, because Pikes Peak is very unique. And I was just helping with everything on the car, you know, helping with tires. I was at the top of the practice stages, like taking tire temperatures and pressures when he would get up there. And yeah, it's gorgeous, isn't it? It's really cool.
It
but
really is. That's cool.
Yeah, and working for Paul's team, at the time he's running a heavily turbocharged, open wheel, pretty wild hill climb car, and he was sponsored by Banks Turbo. And the lead engineer on this project was a gentleman named Matt Trainum, who...
I've heard that name.
Yeah, who years later then works at Rivian. He's now a director of global vehicle testing.
Uh-huh.
And he reached out to me and just said, like, hey, have you heard of Rivian? And it's a really cool company. We're doing some cool stuff. And, you know, from there, he hired me, and I've been at Rivian ever since.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Why does Rivian want to run this race? You were talking about engineering improvements.
Yeah, well, so the biggest one is to show the performance difference from the Gen 1 R1T to the Gen 2 R1T quad motor. You know, it's really, it's an apples to apples comparison on arguably the toughest proving grounds in the world. You know, there's no other race or event to showcase vehicle performance like Pikes Peak because of the thermal management needed, because of like the handling and, you know, performance prowess the car has to have up here. We've learned so much from running this event during all these test days, things that we can port back to all the engineering teams and really improve the customer experience and really improve those vehicles and bolster them.
And I want to make sure that's clear that like it's not necessarily just you that gets the kudos of like running a great race. It's like this trickles down to the owners. Like
it does.
The next generation or even software improvements.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff
have
that
a lot to do with these sort of learnings. Right?
There's a lot of things that can be over-the-air updates that will make the customer cars better. Pikes Peak is awesome. It's a great stage to tell a story, and we're telling the story of the Gen 2 versus Gen 1.
you used the number 21 last year.
Yes.
And the same number this year.
Yes.
Is there a reason for that number?
21 has always been my racing number. It's
Okay.
my lucky number. It's my birthday, the 21st day of December.
Nice.
So it's always been sort of my lucky number.
I thought maybe there was a connection because I saw it on both trucks.
Yeah. No, I'm glad I got to choose my own number this year. Yeah. So it's just my racing number.
Cool. So we're in the R1S, and this is a Gen 2 R1S, but you're driving the R1T.
Yes.
For the race on Sunday. It's also the Gen 2. Tell me the big differences between the Gen 1 and Gen 2 that will help in your racing. For
Yes. Good question. Great question. So in last year, I competed in a 2022 Rivian R1T quad motor.
And you still hold the course record for production truck, for all I know, right?
Yes,
as long as I'm 11:30 or something like
11. What was it? 11:23.
11:23. Sorry,
Yeah.
I took off 7 seconds there.
Yeah, those are hard to get. So
Right.
yeah, 11:23 production truck record, and it was a launch edition.
Congrats, by the way. That's
thank
awesome.
you. It was cool. It was our daily driver. It had 20,000 miles on it when it took the green flag. We had done cross country drives in it. We had done camping, off-roading. It lived through 2 Colorado winters before it was a race car. So
We, as in
my wife
Rivian,
and I.
Was this your personal truck?
Yes.
Like
last year.
No way.
Yeah.
But you had it painted and all that stuff, or had it
It was wrapped, yeah.
and all that
So
stuff.
that's why last
didn't
year.
know that.
Yeah. So last year was a really special.
Okay, now that's a challenge. Like, I'm gonna take my own truck
Yeah.
up Pikes Peak, and hopefully I won't ruin it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what this passion does to you. It's maybe hard to explain and hard for people to understand, like how deeply ingrained this passion is for cars, for motorsports, for racing, for pushing yourself to the limits, and especially with Pikes Peak having such a special place in my heart.
Right.
Why else would you race up a mountain like this? I mean, you'll see
Right.
the road. It's, there's no other reason you do it besides absolute
I have
passion.
never been on this road before. I have seen the videos. I saw a video of you driving all the way,
Yeah.
some footage of you driving all the way up to the peak, and it looked, I should say, a little terrifying.
Yeah. Well,
it's
it's.
And it looked puke-inducing from my perspective.
We'll go slow. Yeah, the views actually up there are beautiful. So now you can see the top.
peak?
Covered in
Close to the
clouds.
peak.
So we'll see if we actually get to the summit today.
Yeah, we're not sure because they said there might be weather.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Hoping we do. But
So we've just crossed the dam.
yeah,
So the start line is close.
it's close. It's up here a little bit further. So yeah, so last year was in a launch edition R1T quad motor. This year is in a brand new 2025 Gen 2 R1T quad motor. So the biggest performance differences that we're taking advantage of up here are the new drive units. So it's a huge improvement. We have more horsepower, more torque, more efficiency, and better cooling on the motors themselves, which is one of the limiting factors up here for any car, whether it's ICE, electric, anything, hybrid. Heat and thermal management is the biggest thing. So this is the main pits right here that we're driving through.
Okay.
So on race day, this will be full of trailers and tents and all the stuff.
Oh, they're setting up.
Got it? Okay, cool.
Sorry, people. Right here is where I'll launch. So
Yeah.
I'll be at a
This-
standstill.
Hold on a second. We need some video of this.
So you launch the car
All right,
there.
So we just passed by the launch. Wait.
Yeah. So the launch.
But this is
So
the
you
start
launch
here.
exactly. So you launch. You try to
To
line
get
up.
to speed. Or,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So you get up to speed. You
so
sort of
it's
line
a
up.
corner here.
It is. So these stripes in the road right here are your timing gate. So right
Okay,
there.
so it starts electronic timing there.
Yep. So that's where your timing starts, and then you're cruising. You're full throttle.
So from here, full throttle,
Oh, yeah.
or as much as full throttle as you can get it.
No, that's full throttle. So you'll start to see some of my tire marks up here as well, because this year I'm running full street tires. It's our new. This is also
Wow.
a Gen 2 quad motor specific tire. So right there, I'll probably hit 106, brake, turn in here.
Wait, 106 miles per hour
Correct.
before you get to the corner.
Yeah, we'll
Holy
brake, then we're back full throttle all through here, keeping full throttle. We'll probably touch, 105 again, like right here.
and we're now going 31.
Yeah.
Just as a
So
comparison.
about 105. Again, quick brakes, turn in. This corner has quite a lot of camber to it, so it's nice. But yeah, so this year we're using the new Michelin Pilot Sport 5S. PS5S. That's going to be available on the Gen 2 quad motor.
And that's an OEM tire, like it's
That's an
sold
OEM
with
tire.
the vehicle.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that's what we're racing on, which is
That's like
hilarious, right?
It's common to use production vehicles, but you put different tires on them normally. Is that true, or
yeah,
is
production
this common to have a production vehicle with a production tire?
is not that common. So it's not super common to have a production vehicle at Pikes Peak, just because it's very difficult on the vehicle, right?
Okay.
And then beyond that, yeah, it's sort of unheard of to use a production tire. I mean, most people would put on a track day tire.
All right, you get a good view of the peak here,
Yeah,
or at
it's
least
beautiful.
that's near the peak, right above the tree line.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite sections of the course. You can feel how flowy and smooth this section of the course is.
What speeds are you taking these corners at when you're racing?
The corners I'll probably get down to like 70, maybe touching 80. This is sort of a longer one, so it might drop down to 60. But you're going full max lateral acceleration around here. You want to clip this side and then turn in. You can see all the tire marks.
Yeah.
I just sort of lift off the throttle as I turn in here. And then this corner up here has all the rest of the hay bales. So I'll bring it as far out as we can, a little brake, dive back in.
Okay, they're the hay bales.
They're the hay bales.
So tell me the reason there's safety.
I think there's safety in
Yeah.
sort of just making sure that someone doesn't like drive off and try to cut the course a little bit. They say the course
Got it.
is
Or
white line to white line. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. So this is also one of the fastest sections in the lower part of the course. So come out of this turn at super late apex, and from there you try to hold full throttle all through here. You can sort of see.
This corner, is it
Tire
because of the camber?
Yep. So
That's cool.
Holding full throttle, you bring it way to the outside, and we're coming up to a corner called Engineers, which is a hairpin.
Okay.
You can see on here it's a hairpin, and so
Okay.
you're still holding full throttle, and then
When you say full throttle, are you over 100 at this point?
yeah. So right here I'm turning in about 110, and I'm touching about 114, 115.
I've been in my truck
Before hitting brakes.
on a runway, a closed off runway, at 115 miles an hour, and I was like, "This is nuts! I'm
Yeah.
going way too fast."
So that's also one of the big advantages with the Gen 2 quad motor is it's capable of doing 130 miles an hour now. So whereas last year we were capped at 110, and getting up to 110, the acceleration would slow down as you approach 110 miles an hour.
Okay, are you going to use that extra 20 miles an hour?
I
top end?
probably won't hit 130, but in a section called Bottomless Pit at the top of the mountain, we'll point it out, I was hitting 120.
Jeez.
So it's noticeably fast, or it's noticeable the number of areas now where I'm hitting over 110. So that just shaves so much time right there, which is
I imagine.
awesome.
So the car that has the record averaged 93.8 miles per hour up the whole route, and then it was 135 miles per hour through the speed trap. What does that mean?
I think the speed trap is generally taken where in that section that we just passed called Picnic Ground, and it's, as you saw, pretty big, open straightaway.
Okay, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, the views up here are epic, especially during early morning testing. When you're up here, like in the dark, you're up here for the sunrise. So this section that we're driving now from the start line, all of this is considered the lower section.
Got it.
The mountain is sort of broken up into thirds, although technically it's more like a half and then 2/4. But this lower section is where qualifying is run. And each day, whether it's one
So
of
you
the
don't
test
go
days...
all the way to the top for qualifying?
Exactly. So whether it's a test day
Oh.
or practice day or qualifying day, you only run a third of the course at a time, either the lower section, middle section, or top section, which is really unique because the only time that you get to run the full course linked together in one go.
Oh, wow.
Is the one attempt on race day.
Oh, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, so you get
that.
You get your one shot on race day. So there are small sections of the course between the end of the lower section and the beginning of the middle section.
So a new driver,
you never drive.
Say this is their first year, will have driven the whole course, but not all at once. Not at race speeds.
Exactly.
I presume they come up and
yeah, you can do a lot of scouting runs.
How much of this course do you have completely memorized by turn by turn? I guess I read there's 140 turns.
156.
Okay, even more than I thought.
So yeah, I have it fully memorized. Most drivers do.
Memorized as in before you get to the next turn exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine that's important to be able to adjust your speeds and so on.
Yeah, but you'll see as we get into the middle section, the W's, which are all these hairpins, you'll see a lot of them look very similar. So it's really easy to misjudge which corner you're on. You might think you're a level down or a level up, on these hairpins, and the consequences of messing that up are not pretty. So it's important. It's important as rookies to really drive the mountain and respect the mountain. All the competitors up here have a huge amount of respect for Pikes Peak and for the mountain, because on race day, everyone says it, but it's totally true. The mountain decides. It could be raining, it could be foggy, a rock could roll out and pop your tire. It's like so many different variables, and so having ultimate respect for the mountain is really important up here, because if you don't have that, then you'll probably find yourself in a really not a good situation. Yeah,
potentially deadly.
Yeah, the consequences are pretty big. So
I'm appreciating this slower pace.
Yeah, no problem.
Although I do have to say, I want to feel what it's like at full speed. I would get sick, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, if you knew ahead of time, you're just okay.
If I were driving, it would be very different, because then I could, gauge it a little bit better. But,
yeah.
So we're getting, so it looks like this section also coincides with the tree line.
It does sort of. So right here, right there, those stripes.
Okay.
Boom. That's
now it's a little timing gate.
That's the end of the lower section.
Okay.
There. The area between the lower section, the end of the lower section, and the beginning of the middle section, we have, 2 or 3 corners here. You never actually get to drive those at all until you're one run on race day.
Oh, interesting. That's
so you never
cool.
get to practice. So here's Glen Cove, we're driving up to now. This is the beginning of the middle section.
Okay.
Yes. So.
And we're just getting above the trees, and wow, it's gorgeous up here.
Yeah, this is really beautiful. So, yeah, so at this point, we're full speed again in the middle section. So,
well, not on this corner, you're not full speed.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
and
sort of
then
a
there's
patience.
still some snow.
Yeah. Yeah, a few weeks ago, there's a lot more snow.
And a boulder pretty close to the edge here, so you can see there's still.
Yeah. That's why, again.
Things are shuffling around.
Yeah, again, the respect thing. You always need to be aware of, your surroundings up here. There could be wildlife crossing the road. There could be boulders that moved that weren't there the night before. This is a great corner also because it's sort of blind. So right here, you're going about 107 or so, full throttle, max lap.
107.
And then you're on the brakes.
A blind corner.
On the brakes as soon as that yellow sign comes around the corner. Onto the brakes. Get ready for a hairpin. That's what a lot of these corners up here end up being. But. Yeah, so you can see the hairpins just draped up the mountain in front of us.
Oh yeah, okay, so straight ahead, those are all the hairpins.
Yeah.
Is this the W section?
This is.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
This looks cool.
Yeah.
I can see the attraction to doing this as a race.
It's challenging, because also, so if you go to drive mode screen, we're at above 12,000 feet now. We started at 9,000 something. So
we've already climbed 3,000.
Yeah. Probably have another 2,000 to go.
Tell me, what is it like to drive at speed this fast? Are you terrified? Are you focused? Are you, what?
I love it. I absolutely love it. It's driving and racing for me is special because when you're in it, when you're in the moment, nothing else matters, and you're there with the mountain, the machine, and the rest of the world just sort of melts away, and it's just you focusing on performing the best you can with the equipment you're given in the circumstances you're given. So if there's fog, it's like, drive to the best of your ability and to the, what your vehicle can take. So I absolutely love it, and it's just pure concentration. Yeah.
That sounds super fun, actually.
Yeah. So this is a great corner too. So you just like clip your apex here. You're running all the way out to the edge.
So you're all the way out.
Yeah, all the way out
for
your
all the way out on the
racing
left
line.
edge out there because you're going to get prepped for this next turn.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah,
well, that's terrifying.
Just...
at least to me. Actually, I don't really think that way because I feel like if I were in your seat, like driving it, I wouldn't be scared. I would be focused, right? Concentrating.
Yeah, you got to concentrate and concentrate on the vehicle as well. So you're watching the brakes, the thermals, you're judging the tires, you're judging the surface. Is it wet? Is it dusty? Has it been raining up here? Constantly.
Ooh, this is a serious climb right here.
Oh yeah, this is steep.
What's the accent or the angle here?
That might be available on the off-road screen.
Probably. Look at that.
9% grade or so.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so this section is really hard on brakes, as you can imagine. Just, coming out of here, rolling to full throttle, you get up to, I don't know, somewhere between 70 and 100 miles an hour between the hairpins. So here's one of those famous corners where if you think you're level down and you're going full throttle through here, suddenly, you've understeered and there's a big drop there. So that's sort of one of those corners where the consequences are very large if you don't remember exactly where you are.
Yeah.
Up here, we're getting to the end of the middle section.
Okay, we're not even at the top section.
Yeah. Yeah, this wall of snow is about like 5 feet higher a few weekends ago.
Oh, wow.
Yep, so where these hay bales are, this is the
It's another time trial or another
timing gate.
Timing gate.
Yep, right here. So again, this corner, you don't really get to drive until race day, but luckily it's just it's a pretty straightforward hairpin.
So when you race this top section, or when you prep the top section, you just start at that time.
Yeah, so you launch there, try to get as much speed as you can before this corner so that it's more realistic.
Got it.
And yeah, coming around this left-hander ahead of us, we'll be dropping into bottomless pit. Sort of a famous, really high-speed section, and it's probably the fastest that we'll be going on race day in the truck.
At the bottomless pit.
Yeah, just before bottomless pit. So.
Okay, can you point that out? Where that would be?
Yep. So you brake a little bit. You're turning in here. You start to roll back to full throttle. Here you should be full throttle already.
Even though there's a corner ahead.
Yeah. So full throttle through here.
You're full throttling through this 120 miles an hour or whatever.
Yeah. So full throttle
around this corner.
Yep. So we'll hit 120 right before the braking zone, which I do generally at this little drainage thing right here. Boop. So on the brakes, really hard.
Okay, you're braking hard here.
Yep. Slowing down, and then you'll see there's a huge bump right before you get to the apex.
Oh, yeah. Is this the pit?
Boom. Yep. That's bottomless pit right down there.
Gotcha.
So that's about a 2,000-foot drop on the other side of that little stone wall.
Oh, that's
and
lovely.
then roll back to full throttle, get back up here.
Wow.
Yeah.
So and you're back up to full throttle.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that would be a tricky little corner there.
So yeah, and the top section is synonymous with being bumpy, and you guys will feel. I mean, I'm in standard ride height, but I don't know how you feel about bumps.
I'm fine with bumps.
Okay.
Bumps, I don't mind. Well, so far so good.
Yeah.
I'm not at all motion sick. I think this is lovely.
Yeah.
You guys doing okay in the
Yeah,
back?
we're doing fantastic.
All right, so we're in the top section now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So is there a different strategy between the sections? Because now you say it's bumpier.
It's bumpy. We're not going to be changing ride heights or drive modes or anything between the sections. We'll be riding in lowest ride height.
You wouldn't do that during the race anyway. You're always in one ride height, right?
Exactly, yeah. So during
Okay.
the race, we'll run in lowest ride height for the whole time.
Okay.
Wow, look at these clouds moving up here. This is awesome. I still am. I'm
cool.
like born and raised in the mountains, and I'm still just always enamored.
I love it,
by
yeah.
them. But
So strategy on the top section
It's-
it's a little different because of the bumps.
yeah, it's just the bumps. The car's going to be really hot by that point. You just have to survive. At this point, you're probably
Yeah, you
doing
can see more
107.
bumps here.
There's this huge bump that upsets the
Is it
car. Yeah.
You're gonna bottom out the.
It upsets the car right before you try to turn into this corner, which then, there's not a whole lot of runoff for.
Mhm.
So you just have to set everything up right. And, your brain is starved for oxygen. We're above 13,000 feet now. And so as a driver, it's really pushing you to the limits because your brain is starving for oxygen. You're tired. Your concentration might be wavering. And you're in this very technical, high risk section of the course. So as a driver, you just you're constantly managing risk versus reward. Do I stay in the throttle a little bit longer? And
I could see how those bumps there, especially right before a corner, could prevent you from being able to steer properly, right?
The contact patch on the tires will just lighten up, and then you lose your steering capability a little bit. So as a driver, it's like you need to know that before you arrive so that you can
prep for it.
And then these bumps too. So that you can set your line properly. So Rivian's suspension has always been really advanced and very tunable with software, which is pretty amazing. So in the R1S specifically, there's like some new hardware that improves the ride, and then obviously a new calibration to match that new hardware. Same thing in the R1T, a few little components here and there that were just improvements, and then a recalibration with that. So the cool thing for the race truck and the production truck is like we're able to tune the ride of the car and handling. We can tune the damping a little bit just with software. So we can go through these bumps, decide like I need a little less control, a little more control, and bump or rebound, and we can easily do that on a laptop, run to run, which is really cool. It's almost like having a built-in,
So you're
two-way
making
adjustable
modifications to the
damper.
software, saying, you know what, let's tweak this one little thing, and then the next time up you'll have that change already integrated into your system, instead of having to turn wrenches and.
Yeah, and it's there.
That's super
so it's
cool.
like it's having like a two-way adjustable damper in your software, which is cool because then with all of the Pikes Peak effort, any improvements that we find on the car can be ported back to customer cars eventually.
That's great.
Which is so cool. It's like old school motorsports, and I love it because wow, look at the clouds just.
I know. Wow.
We're in this like wave.
Well, and let's not forget that same exact truck can then go hit a rock crawl trail and perform really well.
Yeah, or tow all the other race cars down the mountain. So like it's pretty wild what we're doing with a pickup truck like this.
You also have the notoriety of being the only team that has an electric support vehicle as well.
All
right?
electric, so we can run our tire warmers and everything off of our
super cool
support van. So that was the last corner. This is actually maybe sort of the last corner, but this is right up to the finish line.
Oh, we're getting to the finish line.
And you can tell how bumpy this is.
There's Kyle.
So you can tell how bumpy this is. And again, you're full throttle, just trying to survive, and the car's skirting around.
Yeah.
What's
your speed at this corner right here?
Oh, you might be touching 70 or 80.
Jeez.
And
we're going 21.
And you're just trying to survive, and right here's the finish.
And that's it, the finish
and then this guy pulls out in front of you. And then you slam on the brakes. But that's it.
Oh, wow.
So you can see we're at
14,
this might be off a little.
174.
This might be off a little bit. It's 14, 1, 15. Yeah, and you'll start to be able
So
to feel it.
over 14,100.
And then, of course, so you're flying across the finish line, and then you have these huge bumps
and then all
that
these
you're
boulders. What the heck?
Then you're trying to break over these bumps. It's a wild race. It's madness.
Wow, that's super fun. This is the first time I've been over 14,000 feet.
Really?
Lived in Colorado all these years, still have never summited any 14ers.
Yeah.
I'm a little tingly,
Yeah.
feeling the elevation here.
Yeah. So imagine trying to race and drive it at your peak performance.
Well, and your like adrenaline's
yeah,
going,
the
you're
adrenaline's
breathing a lot
going.
more.
Yeah, your heart rate's
And-
up, and then suddenly you stop, and it's like a huge adrenaline rush, and there's no oxygen.
And that took us, what, 30, 40 minutes to get here.
Yeah.
And you would do it in 11.
Hopefully 11 minutes.
Totally nuts.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Let's get out and get a photo.
Yeah.
At least you don't have to worry.
All right, we made it up to the peak. It's cold up here, and
windy.
yeah, you can tell there's not a lot of oxygen up here. Up 14,000 over 100 feet, it's awesome. And thank you so much. Super cool. I was actually really worried that I was gonna get car sick. Not at all. I recommend it, and I can only imagine doing it at an average of what, 90, 80, 90 miles an hour.
We won't be going quite that fast, but
Still, close enough. We averaged, I think, about 21 on the
yeah,
way.
yeah. So
Hey.
took our time. We got to see the views. Got to see the mountain.
I don't know how bad our audio is right now, but I just want to say good luck, congrats.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for driving us up here and taking
Yeah,
the time to
of
do
course.
this.
Thank you,
Super
guys.
excited for you. Thanks again.